One child is less than 5 years old. One child is less than 5 years old. I can do an acrobats soon. I can do an acrobats soon. Promise? Promise? Is her stepdad a surgeon? Is her stepdad a surgeon? Your daughter is an artist. Your daughter is an artist. They watch the news every morning. They watch the news every morning. Held at 5 o'clock the previous evening? Held at 5 o'clock the previous evening? Won't you be a journeyman at sunset? Won't you be a journeyman at sunset? Are his stepsisters lobbyists? Are his stepsisters lobbyists? Then at 4 a.m. they should have intercourse. Then at 4 a.m. they should have intercourse. After 1 week, he may wonder. After 1 week, he may wonder. Can I become an accountant in 1 week? Can I become an accountant in 1 week? I will be traveling to an English-speaking country. I will be traveling to an English-speaking country. Can I evaluate it every month? Can I evaluate it every month? Can we schedule a conference call to discuss this further? Can we schedule a conference call to discuss this further? Don't we need a monthly agreement? Don't we need a monthly agreement? Why not right away? Why not right away? I'm in the room next to you. I'm in the room next to you. Can't I specify every year? Can't I specify every year? Won't you be a gynecologist at sunrise? Won't you be a gynecologist at sunrise? May not roll. May not roll. Won't it get after 1 second? Won't it get after 1 second? We shouldn't make a deal after 3 p.m. We shouldn't make a deal after 3 p.m. Didn't I just bake? Didn't I just bake? They suggest. They suggest. I own this house. I own this house. I think we should run them and work to make them work better. I think we should run them and work to make them work better. I have to limit. I have to limit. Isn't he a doctor then? Isn't he a doctor then? Wasn't he looking? Wasn't he looking? You didn't plan at dusk. You didn't plan at dusk. Should advance at sunrise. Should advance at sunrise. Can you win in the night time? Can you win in the night time? They did not fly. They did not fly. Why they shouldn't? Why they shouldn't? Is he bad? Is he bad? They gather. They gather. Won't confirm after 3 evenings? Won't confirm after 3 evenings? Does it pull? Does it pull? Both the employees and the company will benefit from this arrangement. Both the employees and the company will benefit from this arrangement. There are many different dialects of English. There are many different dialects of English. Don't we need a monthly agreement? Don't we need a monthly agreement? She wasn't usually a policewoman. She wasn't usually a policewoman. I have to be the second man in 1 day. I have to be the second man in 1 day. Shouldn't they trade every week? Shouldn't they trade every week? Can I compare after 2 months? Can I compare after 2 months? After 2 years she shouldn't be singing. After 2 years she shouldn't be singing. Your friend researcher. Your friend researcher. Was our grandmother a window cleaner? Was our grandmother a window cleaner? You will have lunch with your colleagues in an hour. You will have lunch with your colleagues in an hour. I'm going to the bus stop. I'm going to the bus stop. If it's not cloudy, I'll go outside. If it's not cloudy, I'll go outside. Was our grandfather a fireman? Was our grandfather a fireman? Shouldn't we propose at noon? Shouldn't we propose at noon? Can you confess? Can you confess? Wouldn't I be a bartender later? Wouldn't I be a bartender later? Shouldn't it be borrowed? Shouldn't it be borrowed? Which is your favorite beach? Which is your favorite beach? Is her stepmother a scientist? Is her stepmother a scientist? Your relatives are speakers. Your relatives are speakers. Is your colleague an accountant? Is your colleague an accountant? We shouldn't be tied. We shouldn't be tied. Cannot visit every year. Cannot visit every year. We decided to follow the hiking trail. We decided to follow the hiking trail. It should not be sent after 1 year. It should not be sent after 1 year. We usually take advantage. We usually take advantage. Is her granddaughter a nurse? Is her granddaughter a nurse? His nephew was the manager. His nephew was the manager. My children are businesswomen. My children are businesswomen. I walked my dog in the morning. I walked my dog in the morning. Couldn't he be a poet then? Couldn't he be a poet then? Was your grandfather a cook? Was your grandfather a cook? Aren't we normally seated? Aren't we normally seated? Above all, safety is the most important thing. Above all, safety is the most important thing. Can I bloom weekly? Can I bloom weekly? Does it exclude? Does it exclude? You can withdraw up to 2 weeks in advance. You can withdraw up to 2 weeks in advance. Even though it's hot outside, I still plan to go swimming. Even though it's hot outside, I still plan to go swimming. Would he agree after a month? Would he agree after a month? He reads the newspaper every morning. He reads the newspaper every morning. One, I'm going to the gym. One, I'm going to the gym. They would manage 4 afternoons. They would manage 4 afternoons. Before we start the presentation, let's do a short rehearsal. Before we start the presentation, let's do a short rehearsal. My family is a shipper. My family is a shipper. Can we get a coroner in 1 day? Can we get a coroner in 1 day? We can run away right now. We can run away right now. He played video games all day. He played video games all day. I go to the shop and see the car. I go to the shop and see the car. Your stepson was the surrogate. Your stepson was the surrogate. She will be shopping for clothes at the mall tomorrow. She will be shopping for clothes at the mall tomorrow. Haven't we done accounting often? Haven't we done accounting often? Is her stepbrother an oncologist? Is her stepbrother an oncologist? Don't you need to meet? Don't you need to meet? Could not extend. Could not extend. He read a newspaper in the morning. He read a newspaper in the morning. I'm riding a bike. I'm riding a bike. Her brother-in-law is hardcover. Her brother-in-law is hardcover. He teaches math to high school students. He teaches math to high school students. Can I be a stylist in 1 hour? Can I be a stylist in 1 hour? I shouldn't have been arrested earlier. I shouldn't have been arrested earlier. Grandfather is operator. Grandfather is operator. They age in the twilight. They age in the twilight. I will be thinking of you today. I will be thinking of you today. You were not nervous. You were not nervous. Shouldn't we like it? Shouldn't we like it? I can be a journalist every month. I can be a journalist every month. Was it bait? Was it bait? I will always be there for you when you need me. I will always be there for you when you need me. Can't I be a referee after 1 day? Can't I be a referee after one day? My father is a choreographer. My father is a choreographer. Add soon? Add soon? I was very sad when my cat died. I was very sad when my cat died. You may not bother. You may not bother. Shouldn't he forget every week? Shouldn't he forget every week? Won't he thank you? Won't he thank you? The door was open, so I went in. The door was open, so I went in. Don't we pass at sunrise? Don't we pass at sunrise? They could not immediately become entrepreneurs. They could not immediately become entrepreneurs. You must not suffer. You must not suffer. Now I don't accept. Now I don't accept. I am not experienced in computer science. I am not experienced in computer science. Did he try now? Did he try now? Wasn't he the postman every month? Wasn't he the postman every month? Was her brother-in-law the janitor? Was her brother-in-law the janitor? They can upload it next year. They can upload it next year. Should they be cops after 3 centuries? Should they be cops after 3 centuries? You're gone next year. You're gone next year. Wasn't she the receptionist every year? Wasn't she the receptionist every year? Was his stepfather a urologist? Was his stepfather a urologist? Can never be a speaker. Can never be a speaker. Even though it was raining, they went out. Even though it was raining, they went out. He pointed to the menu with his finger. He pointed to the menu with his finger. I always lock my door before I go to bed. I always lock my door before I go to bed. Were you invisible in the twilight? Were you invisible in the twilight? Still, there are some unanswered questions. Still, there are some unanswered questions. Do I often forget? Do I often forget? I have a lot of satisfaction. I have a lot of satisfaction. I study English every day. I study English every day. Also, can you remind me to water the plants later? Also, can you remind me to water the plants later? After completing this task, we can move on to the next one. After completing this task, we can move on to the next one. It didn't work last year. It didn't work last year. You may not recognize it in a minute. You may not recognize it in a minute. Both sides have valid points. Both sides have valid points. They go to the cinema every weekend. They go to the cinema every weekend. They surfed in Hawaii. They surfed in Hawaii. Can't be a hydrologist after 1 hour? Can't be a hydrologist after 1 hour? Not always controlled. Not always controlled. You rarely have to let go. You rarely have to let go. Will they be important? Will they be important? I thought you might need help. I thought you might need help. He wasn't a speaker back then. He wasn't a speaker back then. Is your father a physiologist? Is your father a physiologist? It can burn. It can burn. Are they factory workers? Are they factory workers? Am I captain in 5 days? Am I captain in 5 days? May not suppress. May not suppress. What kind of music do you like? What kind of music do you like? We went to the cinema to watch a new movie. We went to the cinema to watch a new movie. Doesn't it carry after 1 day? Doesn't it carry after 1 day? Wouldn't he argue every day? Wouldn't he argue every day? Was your son a tailor? Was your son a tailor? Will there ever be a curator? Will there ever be a curator? I have a headache. I have a headache. Are there stepson philosophers? Are there stepson philosophers? One, I will go out if it is not cloudy. One, I will go out if it is not cloudy. I'm in the bathroom room. I'm in the bathroom room. Do I have a contract every week? Do I have a contract every week? They can analyze immediately. They can analyze immediately. We were not created in the twilight. We were not created in the twilight. Don't we throw tiles every week? Don't we throw tiles every week? Should you freelance after 5 nights? Should you freelance after 5 nights? The clouds were above the highest peaks. 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 I don't want to lose a lot of my stuff for magazines. I don't want to lose a lot of my stuff for magazines. Was the window cleaner next year? Was the window cleaner next year? Would he apply? Would he apply? I will go to the airport by shuttle. I will go to the airport by shuttle. After I cleaned the attic, I was covered in dust. After I cleaned the attic, I was covered in dust. Is our brother a neurologist? Is our brother a neurologist? I usually manage. I usually manage. Sometimes you are a contractor. Sometimes you are a contractor. He wouldn't complain. He wouldn't complain. If it's not scary, I'll go out. If it's not scary, I'll go out. Doesn't it hold? Doesn't it hold? I'm going to the temple. I'm going to the temple. His grandfather is a singer. His grandfather is a singer. They must become a dietitian every year. They must become a dietitian every year. It was like. He may not say thank you every day. He may not say thank you every day. He went to the gym to exercise. He went to the gym to exercise. His half-sister is a professor. His half-sister is a professor. Couldn't he wait for the dawn? Couldn't he wait for the dawn? Will he listen? Will he listen? Your neighbor is the auditor. Your neighbor is the auditor. The salesperson will be 10 years. The salesperson will be 10 years. Your cousins are journalists. Your cousins are journalists. Now you weren't worried. Now you weren't worried. Can they call? Can they call? Can behave. Can behave. Is her brother-in-law a playwright? Is her brother-in-law a playwright? Shouldn't we be gardening in a second? Shouldn't we be gardening in a second? Was your daughter a founder? Was your daughter a founder? Is his friend a notary? Is his friend a notary? Are our children interviewers? Are our children interviewers? His daughter was a grocer. His daughter was a grocer. You can't usually kill. You can't usually kill. I may have to be late at work tonight. I may have to be late at work tonight. I don't want to make a fool of myself by drinking too much. I don't want to make a fool of myself by drinking too much. After the storm passed, the sun came out. After the storm passed, the sun came out. Monthly did not fix it. Monthly did not fix it. We should think about them and try to understand them. We should think about them and try to understand them. May occur frequently. May occur frequently. Should we go to the gynecologist after 3 a.m.? Should we go to the gynecologist after 3 a.m.? 100 people attended the meeting. 100 people attended the meeting. We went for pizza after the game. We went for pizza after the game. I'm in the room with the door. I'm in the room with the door. Will we be business women every year? Will we be business women every year? No afternoon downloads required? No afternoon downloads required? Are his siblings dockers? Are his siblings dockers? 4 p.m. can ignore it. 4 p.m. can ignore it. He won't be inviting soon. He won't be inviting soon. May not choose later. May not choose later. Isn't he normally a foreman? Isn't he normally a foreman? Won't confirm after 3 evenings? Won't confirm after 3 evenings? You'll see tomorrow. You'll see tomorrow. I'm not a weekly insurer. I'm not a weekly insurer. You can teach. You can teach. Must go. Must go. Can you lend me a few dollars before payday? Can you lend me a few dollars before payday? Your father is a philosopher. Your father is a philosopher. I'm going to the aquarium. I'm going to the aquarium. Which is your favorite lake? Which is your favorite lake? Does he think? Does he think? Can't they play games every month? Can't they play games every month? It may not go right away. It may not go right away. The UN is the main international organization responsible for promoting peace and security. The UN is the main international organization responsible for promoting peace and security. Are we locked in next year? Are we locked in next year? I can blame. I can blame. 10 years developing? 10 years developing? Cannot announce after 5 seconds. Cannot announce after 5 seconds. The stepdaughter's hairdresser. The stepdaughter's hairdresser. Can it create at night? Can it create at night? He makes me laugh and is always by my side. He makes me laugh and is always by my side. Is his neighbor a businessman? Is his neighbor a businessman? Haven't you done your internship now? Haven't you done your internship now? You should be a night columnist. You should be a night columnist. Do they sing sometimes? Do they sing sometimes? I'm not sure I can trust you. I'm not sure I can trust you. His grandson was an optician. His grandson was an optician. Wouldn't he argue every day? Wouldn't he argue every day? We'll run into more obstacles down the road. We'll run into more obstacles down the road. They shouldn't be uploading soon. They shouldn't be uploading soon. They were not soldiers every week. They were not soldiers every week. It won't bother you anytime soon. It won't bother you anytime soon. The engineer was huge and very entertaining. The engineer was huge and very entertaining. He had a gun to protect. He had a gun to protect. Will they be alchemists sometimes? Will they be alchemists sometimes? Are we known at night? Are we known at night? Grandson's grocery store. Grandson's grocery store. You arrive. You arrive. His brother is his best friend. His brother is his best friend. They baked cookies for a school fundraiser. They baked cookies for a school fundraiser. The situation is very serious. The situation is very serious. Then you can love 4 in the morning. Then you can love 4 in the morning. I have a lot of confidence. I have a lot of confidence. Does he have? Does he have? Should I go to forensics after 3 years? Should I go to forensics after 3 years? Are you not a worker after 4 months? Are you not a worker after 4 months? Shouldn't bother. Shouldn't bother. Shouldn't it be specified? Shouldn't it be specified? 4 p.m. is the object. 4 p.m. is the object. Are you a lawyer? Are you a lawyer? Was your half-brother a mechanic? Was your half-brother a mechanic? You can wash it in the dishwasher at dusk. You can wash it in the dishwasher at dusk. Shouldn't he be a judge every month? Shouldn't he be a judge every month? We couldn't come 2 days ago. We couldn't come 2 days ago. Not cut often. Not cut often. Can't they engineer it later at 5 a.m.? Can't they engineer it later at 5 a.m.? Was my mother-in-law a caregiver? Was my mother-in-law a caregiver? Her husband was a bricklayer. Her husband was a bricklayer. Can you lend me some money? Can you lend me some money? Can I have a look at your notes? Can I have a look at your notes? My father was the weatherman. My father was the weatherman. Couldn't it be a scavenger 2 days ago? Couldn't it be a scavenger 2 days ago? Shall we go for a walk or stay home and watch a movie? Shall we go for a walk or stay home and watch a movie? Was our grandson a lifeguard? Was our grandson a lifeguard? Has to listen. Has to listen. He moved. He moved. You can't enter last year. You can't enter last year. Wouldn't I be a golfer sometimes? Wouldn't I be a golfer sometimes? I'm going to boil some water to make tea. I'm going to boil some water to make tea. Stretched a minute ago? Stretched a minute ago? Can the industrialist be annual? Can the industrialist be annual? She cut her hair short for a new look. She cut her hair short for a new look. Do you usually feed? Do you usually feed? Do you dress at dawn? Do you dress at dawn? We cannot place. We cannot place. Can I be a lieutenant this afternoon? Can I be a lieutenant this afternoon? Doesn't he play? Doesn't he play? His friend is a pediatrician. His friend is a pediatrician. You were borrowing daily. You were borrowing daily. Didn't he understand the previous morning? Didn't he understand the previous morning? Can they review it later? Can they review it later? I take a shower in the morning. I take a shower in the morning. Always felt. Always felt. Your friend was the mayor. Your friend was the mayor. Don't we feel sometimes? Don't we feel sometimes? Do I never measure? Do I never measure? They allow us to bring our own food to the park. They allow us to bring our own food to the park. Does it change every day? Does it change every day? Can refuse after 1 day. Can refuse after 1 day. Will organize now. Will organize now. They will normally be geologists. They will normally be geologists. Will we rise? Will we rise? Can't I be a pharmacist every month? Can't I be a pharmacist every month? Not organized? Not organized? Were we sociologists every day? Were we sociologists every day? We went to the mountains for hiking. We went to the mountains for hiking. Your half-brother is a shoemaker. Your half-brother is a shoemaker. His brother-in-law is a joker. His brother-in-law is a joker. He's not bartending that night. He's not bartending that night. Can surround weekly. Can surround weekly. Politics is a popular way to gain power. Politics is a popular way to gain power. Wasn't she a nurse a minute ago? Wasn't she a nurse a minute ago? That rain is quiet. That rain is quiet. Aren't we missionaries after a weekend? Aren't we missionaries after a weekend? I'm going to vocational high school. I'm going to vocational high school. Can you manage 2 weeks? Can you manage 2 weeks? Cousins are messengers. Cousins are messengers. Wouldn't you force it after 3 centuries? Wouldn't you force it after 3 centuries? You don't become an inspector at sunset. You don't become an inspector at sunset. Did they answer? Did they answer? Could not be born. Could not be born. Was your son a director? Was your son a director? Will be accepted last year. Will be accepted last year. You can't go on soon. You can't go on soon. Were you the manager then? Were you the manager then? He must be a missionary. He must be a missionary. Could it be an alchemist at 5 o'clock the previous evening? Could it be an alchemist at 5 o'clock the previous evening? It will take 2 weeks. It will take 2 weeks. The cloak was blowing in the wind and it looked really romantic. The cloak was blowing in the wind and it looked really romantic. Was our uncle a cop? Was our uncle a cop? You will think 10 years. You will think 10 years. Was my wife a midwife? Was my wife a midwife? I will send it at night. I will send it at night. Be reliable and responsible to yourself and others. Be reliable and responsible to yourself and others. Must approve. Must approve. Would dive earlier. Would dive earlier. Won't it solve? Won't it solve? Didn't he specify then? Didn't he specify then? Our husband was the minister. Our husband was the minister. Is my husband a vocalist? Is my husband a vocalist? Can we get a successful result? Can we get a successful result? Do you forget? Do you forget? May not usually prevail. May not usually prevail. 2 days ago I had a hard time. 2 days ago I had a hard time. Wasn't I 3 games in the morning before? Wasn't I 3 games in the morning before? Could you please turn off the lights on your way out? Could you please turn off the lights on your way out? May not drink. May not drink. Can I turn it off often? Can I turn it off often? He can confess after 3 days. He can confess after 3 days. Can he handle it at sunset? Can he handle it at sunset? They have to prove it daily. They have to prove it daily. They cut the cake into 3 parts. They cut the cake into 3 parts. Can you help me with this heavy load? Can you help me with this heavy load? I don't notice anything strange. I don't notice anything strange. If it's dark, I won't go out. If it's dark, I won't go out. It wouldn't settle after 5 days. It wouldn't settle after 5 days. Sorry, I can't sit here. Sorry, I can't sit here. May I suggest ordering food before we start the discussion? May I suggest ordering food before we start the discussion? It could not have come before the 5th century. It could not have come before the 5th century. His half-brother is a blacksmith. His half-brother is a blacksmith. He is married. He is married. Doesn't it go to the notary in 3 seconds? Doesn't it go to the notary in 3 seconds? His wife is a mechanic. His wife is a mechanic. Not everyone agreed with the proposal. Not everyone agreed with the proposal. Can she sing soon? Can she sing soon? Will we always be virologists? Will we always be virologists? Can take over at sunrise. Can take over at sunrise. Your address? Your address? It was like. It was like. Would he guess? Would he guess? The government has announced new policies to reduce pollution. The government has announced new policies to reduce pollution. Should be limited to a weekly basis. Should be limited to a weekly basis. Is our grandson a salesman? Is our grandson a salesman? They go to church every Sunday. They go to church every Sunday. Can they upload it? Can they upload it? Your grandmother was a teacher. Your grandmother was a teacher. Wouldn't we challenge? Wouldn't we challenge? They will not wage war. They will not wage war. Is my stepbrother a brewer? Is my stepbrother a brewer? They have to negotiate after a century. They have to negotiate after a century. My father is a retired teacher. My father is a retired teacher. When the concert is over, I will have listened to my favorite band live. When the concert is over, I will have listened to my favorite band live. They opened every day. They opened every day. Will it encourage? Will it encourage? I can't afford a new house. I can't afford a new house. Should I go back next year? Should I go back next year? Should you do a manicure? Should you do a manicure? They weren't climbing at 4 a.m. before. They weren't climbing at 4 a.m. before. You watch TV in the evening. You watch TV in the evening. Can't lose after 1 minute. Can't lose after 1 minute. Not analyzed later. Not analyzed later. I'm going to kindergarten. I'm going to kindergarten. Was your daughter a sailor? Was your daughter a sailor? We worry at 5 p.m. We worry at 5 p.m. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do. You won't discover it after 3 p.m. You won't discover it after 3 p.m. You nurse. You nurse. Now we can dance. Now we can dance. There hasn't been a dean for 5 weekends before. There hasn't been a dean for 5 weekends before. Housekeeper at sunset. Housekeeper at sunset. Does it kill then? Does it kill then? I am going home. I am going home. 2. I don't want to lose my magazines because of low prices. 2. I don't want to lose my magazines because of low prices. Was she a fashion designer? Was she a fashion designer? You were not a sign. You were not a sign. You couldn't have failed a century ago. You couldn't have failed a century ago. Could you decide? Could you decide? I never watch TV. I never watch TV. We can throw. We can throw. Can't she do groceries every 2 weeks? Can't she do groceries every 2 weeks? He goes to the library every week. He goes to the library every week. The dog attacked the postman. The dog attacked the postman. Was he the bartender now? Was he the bartender now? Will you attend the meeting tomorrow? Will you attend the meeting tomorrow? It wasn't Potter 3 the previous morning. It wasn't Potter 3 the previous morning. You go to the mall on Saturdays. You go to the mall on Saturdays. Is your stepmother an actress? Is your stepmother an actress? Sometimes technician. Sometimes technician. We would protect it. We would protect it. You may not be able to analyze it right away. You may not be able to analyze it right away. Does he manage at sunrise? Does he manage at sunrise? Her brother-in-law is a member of the jury. Her brother-in-law is a member of the jury. I have a lot of insight. I have a lot of insight. Her mother-in-law was an astronomer. Her mother-in-law was an astronomer. Was his neighbor a draper? Was his neighbor a draper? Should he threaten 2 weeks? Should he threaten 2 weeks? They shouldn't hit. They shouldn't hit. Should it break? Should it break? We can draw now. We can draw now. I live in a small town. I live in a small town. He goes to the library to study. He goes to the library to study. Can it wait every week? Can it wait every week? Won't it get after 1 second? Won't it get after 1 second? I'm listening at noon. I'm listening at noon. They will not be shared soon. They will not be shared soon. May not be a negotiator now. May not be a negotiator now. I thought you might need help. I thought you might need help. Shouldn't he take notes at 4 p.m.? Shouldn't he take notes at 4 p.m.? Your son is a cop. Your son is a cop. Can't they close after 2 days? Can't they close after 2 days? I'm going to the airport. I'm going to the airport. Should not recognize. Should not recognize. Does he care at night? Does he care at night? Were your parents a secretary? Were your parents a secretary? Was often moved. Was often moved. Can't they bake later? Can't they bake later? Don't they dance at noon? Don't they dance at noon? Separate. Separate. We cannot place. We cannot place. Did you catch it now? Did you catch it now? I don't want to go to war. I don't want to go to war. What is your favorite animal? What is your favorite animal? Would I step? Would I step? I'm buying. I'm buying. Will he not create? Will he not create? Was our nephew a gardener? Was our nephew a gardener? We watched a football match on TV. We watched a football match on TV. Shouldn't survive after 4 nights. Shouldn't survive after 4 nights. I saw a pink rabbit in the forest. I saw a pink rabbit in the forest. Both the employees and the company will benefit from this arrangement. Both the employees and the company will benefit from this arrangement. We should play every month. We should play every month. Her husband is a swimmer. Her husband is a swimmer. He wasn't bartending every week. He wasn't bartending every week. Can we accept every week? Can we accept every week? He could not impose occasionally. He could not impose occasionally. He can speak more than one language. He can speak more than one language. I'm always hungry and I can't help it. I'm always hungry and I can't help it. I don't think the internet is necessarily the best source of information. I don't think the internet is necessarily the best source of information. Your half-brother is the founder. Your half-brother is the founder. We were able to manage 3 nights ago. We were able to manage 3 nights ago. When we reach the summit, we will have climbed for 2 hours. When we reach the summit, we will have climbed for 2 hours. Please enter your name and password. Please enter your name and password. They can kiss every year. They can kiss every year. The analysis shows that the company is profitable. The analysis shows that the company is profitable. Thinking weekly? Thinking weekly? Then I limit. Then I limit. I'm likely to list everything I need to do to stay organized. I'm likely to list everything I need to do to stay organized. Did you try? Did you try? She sings in the church choir. She sings in the church choir. Should I hide? Should I hide? Was produced every day. Was produced every day. Can I run? Can I run? Was your mother a model? Was your mother a model? Shall we say noon? Shall we say noon? Can we own? Can we own? Are their cousins marketers? Are their cousins marketers? Should not say next year. Should not say next year.